All right, fourth grade, I'm here to go over some of the journal pages that you had for lesson 6-4 that you had to complete today. So if you want to follow along, I'm on page 198. Now, I already went over number 1 in my last video, so I'm really only going to focus on 2 and 3 and then the ones on the next page. So let's read number 2. It says, Dion has $84 to purchase books. Each book, so he has $84 to purchase books, and each book costs $7. How many books can Dion buy? So remember, first you're going to start with that number model with the unknown so you can make your estimate. So I know that he has $84 and each book is $7. So he can buy unknown value. We don't know how many books he can buy, so I'm going to represent that value with a B. So 84 divided by 7 equals B. So now I'm going to make my estimate, something close. And remember, I said in my last video, anything by 10s or by 5s is much easier for you to estimate to because you can do that math in your head. So my estimate is actually going to be 80, because 80 is close to 84, divided by 8, because 8 is close to 7, equals 10. So my guess is he probably can buy 10 books with his money. And you'll notice in the corner, this is how they chose to write the division for this problem. So 7, we call that a division bar, 84. Okay, because you can write division problems in a bunch of different ways. I think I mentioned that in my last video. You can do 84 divided by 7 equals B, or you can put 84 divided by 7, or you can write it like this. So what you're going to do now is you're going to use this information to do partial quotient division. So you're going to start off by drawing your initial rectangle, and I'm going to make it a little smaller. Remember, you need to make $7 per book, and you have $84. So you're going to see how many books can you buy with that $7. So now I'm going to draw my bigger one. And I'm going to start breaking it apart using partial quotient. This is very similar to the partial product method we used for double-digit multiplication. Same concept. So I'm going to put the 7 back here. So I know that 7 times 10 is 70, which gets me close to that 84. So that's what I'm going to start off with. 7 times 10 equals 70. Okay? So I multiplied it by 10. So right now he could buy 10 books for $70. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to subtract 84, and he spent $70. So he's left with $14. So now you have to think, what times 7 could give you 14? Because I know that 14 is a multiple of 7. And I know that 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 2 is 14. So I spent all my money. I have no remainder. And 7 times 2 is 14. So what you're going to do now is you're going to add those together, and you get 12. So he was able to buy 12 books with that $84 with zero money left over. All right, let's go on to number 3. Jayla ran 3 miles in 42 minutes. If she ran all 3 miles in the same amount of time, so that means equal, how many minutes did it take her to run? So you're going to take that 42 minutes and you're going to divide it, because when you divide, you're dividing it evenly if you don't have anything left over, if you have no remainder. So you're going to take 42 and you're going to divide it by 3, which will equal how many minutes she ran each of those miles. So my estimate is going to be 45, because remember I like to deal with 5s and 10s. 45 divided by 3 I know is 15. So I think she's going to run roughly 15 minutes per mile. So let's start off by doing our partial quotient. Now, some of you might be able to solve this in your head, but I want to make sure that you're understanding this method of division. So I want to see your rectangles and how you would do the partial quotient division. So we're going to start with the rectangle, and I'm going to put 3 up here, and I'm going to put 42, because that's how many minutes she ran all 3 miles all together. So now I'm going to come over here. Remember, I told you I usually deal with 10. So 3 times 10 is 30, which gets me close to that 42. So that's kind of what I'm going to start with. 3 times 10 equals 30. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to subtract 30 from that 42. And I'm left with 12. Now, I have 12. And I know 3 times 4 is 12. So I know I can then make a group of 4. And then you just add. So you find out that she ran each mile in 14 minutes. All right, let's look at number 4. Mrs. Gardner wants to divide all of the 4th graders into groups of 8 for a music program. If there is 96 students, how many groups will she have? So let's underline the important information. So we know that she wants to divide all of the 4th graders into 8 groups. So groups of 8. Sorry, not 8 groups, groups of 8. So 8 people in each group. And she has 96 students that she has to divide into groups of 8. So we have to figure out how many groups will she have. So remember, we're going to start with that unknown again. She has 96 students that she has to divide into groups that can have 8 students. Equals, I'm going to put a G for group. So now I'm going to estimate. Again, both of this is close to 100, this is close to 10. So 100 divided by 10, I think she'll roughly have about 10 groups to bring to the music program. 10 groups of 8 kids. So let's see how close our estimate is going to go. So we're going to make those partial quotient rectangles again. I know that I can have 8 people in a group, and I have 96 students. 8 people in a group. Now I know that 8 times 10 will get me close, will get me to 80. So I'm going to subtract 80 from 96, and I'm left with 16. Now, I know that 8 times 2 equals 16. And I'm left with no remainder. So Mrs. Gardner is going to take, 12 groups to the music program. Now, solve using a partitioned rectangle, which is what we've been doing to solve all of these. This is a partitioned rectangle. It's a rectangle that you split up into different smaller parts. Peyton bought a piece of licorice that measures 62 inches long. She wants to give 6 inches of the licorice to each of her friends. How many friends can Peyton give the licorice to? So we're going to start with that number model with the unknown again. She has 72 inches of licorice. She's going to give 6 inches to each of her friends. How many friends could she give 6 inches of licorice to? So my estimate is going to be 70, because 70 is close to 72, divided by 7, because 7 is close to 6, equals 10. I think about 10 friends she can give the licorice to. So now I'm going to continue with my partitioned rectangle strategy. So I put the 7 up here and I put 70 here to remind me. And actually, I'm going to put 6 divided by 62 because it kind of got cut off over here. Now I'm going to make another rectangle that I'm going to partition into smaller parts. Again, this is everything we've been doing for the last 3 problems. So I'm going to think to myself, 10, oh, it's supposed to be a 6. I know that 10 times 6 equals 60. So I'm going to subtract 60 from 72 and I'm left with 12. And I know that 6 times 2 gives me 12 with no remainder. Then you're just going to add these and you get 12. So Peyton can give 12 of her friends 6 inches of that licorice. So that is how you are going to solve using that partial quotient division. If you have any other questions, just comment below and I'll try to help you.